Imagine I lost everything tomorrow, the 20 years of experience, gone from my CV, the network, gone, the job title, gone, and I had to break into test automation from zero in 2026, with AI eating half the industry alive. I would not begin by collecting certificates or watching 12 versions of the same Selenium tutorial. I would build 5 practical skills in a deliberate order and make each one visible in a project an interviewer could inspect. Here are the 5 skills I would learn, in order. Pay attention to what is not on this list, because it is the thing everyone assumes they need, and it is not. Number 5 alone is the difference between a £35,000 QA job and a £65,000 SDET job. Playwright, API-testing, CI and CD, AI-assisted testing with judgement, and business logic thinking. Let us go. Quick context, so you know this is not theory. I have spent 20 years in test automation for government and private organizations. For the last few years, I have also been the person on the other side of the interview table, deciding who gets hired. I mentor career changers into SDET roles at the working SDET. This is not a list of whatever happens to be fashionable this week. It is the pattern I have watched turn learners into candidates who can defend their decisions in a real interview. Skill 1 is Playwright over Selenium. The blunt version is that Selenium still works. Many important systems still depend on it, so do not pretend it disappeared. But if I were starting fresh, I would choose Playwright with TypeScript. It gives you modern browser isolation, automatic weighting, network control, tracing, screenshots, and parallel execution without assembling a toolbox from 6 separate libraries. Learn the tool companies are hiring for tomorrow, not yesterday. This is not a prediction. Look at the market signal. A current senior SDET role from Maxwell Bond lists Playwright, TypeScript and CI or CD at £70,000 to £80,000. A UK remote automation role advertised through the Government Job Service asks for Playwright and Python at £40,000 to £60,000. And Assemble role at £65,000 to £75,000 explicitly covers Playwright across both user interface and API scenarios. Different employers, same pattern. Modern automation plus engineering context. Start with the official Playwright Getting Started guide and TypeScript. Then build one real suite against a stable practice site. Include authentication, fixtures, page objects only where they genuinely help, traces on failure, and a clean README that explains your choices. Do not build 12 tutorial projects you cannot remember. Build one project you can open in an interview and defend. 4 to 6 focused weeks is enough to become competent, provided you write and debug the code yourself. Skill 2 is API testing before user interface testing. 80% of the bugs I have seen reach production were API-level issues that user interface tests would never catch. That is my experience, not a universal industry statistic, but the lesson is consistent. User interface-only testers plateau because they spend all their time at the slowest and most fragile layer. The logic lives below the surface. Go where the logic is. Check the request, the contract, the status, the data, and the failure behavior directly. Use Postman first to explore. Learn methods, headers, authentication, status codes, JSON bodies, and negative requests. Then automate. If your stack is Java, rest assured is a strong choice. If you are staying with TypeScript, Playwright can test AP is in the same project as your browser checks. Give this 3 to 4 weeks alongside Skill 1. I have also produced a complete beginner to first test API session for this channel. Check the channel link in the description as that series is republished with the approved narration. Skill 3 is CI and CD pipeline literacy. Here is the line that stung on LinkedIn. If you cannot plug your tests into a GitHub Actions or Jenkins pipeline, you are not an SDET. You are a script writer. The point is not the job title police. The point is that a test has little organizational value if it only runs on your laptop. Useful tests run on every pull request, on a schedule, and on demand. They publish reports that another engineer can read without asking you what happened. The practical target is small: one GitHub Actions workflow file, check out the repository, set up Node, install dependencies, install the Playwright browsers, run the suite, upload the HTML report even when a test fails, add a nightly cron schedule and a pull request trigger. You can do all of that on the free tier for a portfolio project. Spend 2 weeks here. It is the shortest skill on this list and one of the biggest credibility jumps you can demonstrate in an interview. Skill 4 is AI-assisted test generation. Claude, Copilot, Cursor and similar tools can draft fixtures, selectors, payload builders, data factories and first-pass assertions much faster than starting from a blank file. Use that leverage. Ask for alternatives. Ask the model to explain trade-offs. Ask it to identify missing edge cases. But treat every generated line as an untrusted pull request. The faster the machine writes, the more deliberate your review must become. Here is a tiny failure I have seen in AI-generated Playwright code. The model wrote, "Expect response.ok to be truthy." It looked convincing, but it forgot the brackets after OK. It asserted the method itself, and a function object is truthy, so the test could pass even when the server returned 500. The correct check calls response.ok with brackets or asserts the exact status. This is why code that looks professional is not the same as code that proves something. Learn to validate what AI generates. The SDET, who can use AI as a tool while catching its mistakes, is worth double. AI did not remove the job. It moved the job up a level, from writing checks to judging evidence. Did the test mock the very dependency it claimed to verify? Can the assertion fail for the right reason? Is the edge case missing? Practice this deliberately for 2 or 3 weeks and continue for the rest of your career. Skill 5 is business logic thinking, the hardest skill to teach. Do not stop at whether a button can be clicked. Ask whether the system behaves correctly when unexpected things happen, when 2 valid rules collide, or when the same request arrives twice. Syntax tells you how to automate a check. Business knowledge tells you which check can protect revenue, customer trust, or data integrity. That is the difference between operating a tool and engineering quality. Consider 3 examples. A refund endpoint succeeds twice because the retry is not idempotent, so the customer receives double the money. A subscription renews on the wrong day because midnight in London is still yesterday in another time zone. A discount code stacks with a gift card even though the combined value exceeds the order total. Every individual screen may work. The failure lives in the gap between rules, systems, and timing. That gap is where strong SDETs investigate. This is the skill that separates a £35,000 QA from a £65,000 SDET. For American viewers, think roughly $50,000 versus $95,000. The exact market changes, but the gap is the same. You can practice without waiting for a job. Pick an app you use every day and write down 10 ways it could lose money or corrupt data without a single button breaking. Then, design the smallest test that would expose each risk. That list is the skill. Now notice what is not on this list. A computer science degree. 20 years in, having hired dozens of SDETs, I have never once seen a degree predict who performs. The 5 skills in this video can be learned in 6 to 9 months with the right structure. A degree takes years and teaches almost none of this specific workflow. If you are changing career at 35 with a mortgage, you do not need to return to university. You need a plan and a project portfolio. Connect the skills into one portfolio. Build a Playwright and TypeScript suite. Add direct API checks. Run the whole project in GitHub Actions. Use AI to accelerate selected tasks and document one generated mistake you caught. Finally, add a short risk analysis explaining the business failures your tests protect against. That single repository tells a much stronger story than 5 certificates because it shows tools, delivery, judgment, and commercial thinking working together. The list, one more time: Playwright over Selenium, API testing before user interface testing, CI and CD literacy, AI-assisted testing with judgment, and business logic thinking, the one that pays. Start with the weakest link in your own background, but keep the destination connected. A tester who can create reliable evidence, deliver it continuously, review machine-generated work, and understand what the business can actually lose. The obvious question is, which of the 5 should I start with for my background? I built an app that answers exactly that. It is called SDET Interview Coach. Practice questions across Playwright, API testing, CI and CD, AI-assisted testing and business logic scenarios with a proper explanation behind each answer. Do a set in every area and compare your scores. Your weakest area is your starting point. Job Match can also compare your preparation with a real SDET job description, so you study what the market asks for rather than what feels comfortable. SDET Interview Coach is on the App Store and Google Play. The direct links are in the description. Do 10 questions tonight while this video is fresh, and you will know your gap before bed. Subscribe if you are breaking into SDET this year. Everything on this channel is built for exactly that. And tell me in the comments, which of the 5 skills are you weakest in? I will see you in the next one.